The iPhone 17 Pro Max may boast a considerably bigger battery than any prior iteration. We've received quite an amount of information on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but shockingly, one of the most important upgrades has just lately come to light. According to leaker Setsuna Digital, the iPhone 17 Pro Max might contain a 5000 mAh battery. While this is a common capacity for Android handsets, it is a big boost compared to what we've seen in earlier iPhones. The iPhone 16 Pro Max features the biggest battery Apple has ever incorporated in a phone, yet it is still just 4685 mAh. If this rumor holds true, the iPhone 17 Pro Max would have an extra 315 mAh to use. Increasing the battery to 5000 mAh would finally make Apple's battery specs more competitive with those of Android handsets. This modification might imply that the real-world battery life of the iPhone 17 Pro Max is substantially longer than that of most Android phones, since iPhones are recognized for their remarkable power efficiency. Throughout the history of Apple's iPhone Pro Max series, each successive generation has seen a little increase in battery capacity, with the exception of the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which actually featured a slightly smaller battery than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The rumor of the iPhone 17 Pro Max possibly containing a 5000 mAh battery is interesting, but we should treat this information carefully. While the source has a great track record, we have not heard this from any other sources yet, and such a big increase in battery capacity would be rare for Apple. If the iPhone 17 Pro Max does actually contain a 5000 mAh battery, it might represent one of the most noteworthy upgrades in a gadget that otherwise doesn't seem to provide any advances over the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Current rumors imply that the most important upgrade may be in the design. However, we may also anticipate improvements to the processor and some of the cameras. A bump in battery life might make this phone seem like a more worthwhile investment. While this leak primarily refers to the iPhone 17 Pro Max, a considerable battery boost might signal that other iPhone 17 models will get comparable enhancements. We should hear more in September, which is presumably when Apple will reveal these new gadgets. A number of distinctive upgrades that previously only available to the more premium Pro iPhones will be making their way to Apple's complete iPhone 17 range, with even the basic model and the ultra-thin flagship carrying the Air brand rumored to endure similar hardware tweaks. Previously, we revealed that all four models would be updated to LTPO OLED technology that would allow Pro Motion compatibility, and this time, a fresh source reveals that these devices will also feature the newer M14 panels, with Samsung being the sole supplier. What is unusual is that the Korean manufacturer has yet to embrace this technology because its top-tier S25 Ultra comes with the previous generation M13 model. Samsung is projected to give the greatest order of OLED panels to Apple's iPhone 17 family, with an estimate predicted to reach up to 90 million smartphones for the year. The M14 OLED upgrade is currently available on the iPhone 16 Pro and iPhone 16 Pro Max, and according to ET News, using information obtained by the source Jukanlastreave, Samsung will provide this panel with the objective to apply it to all the iPhone 17 models. The report does not specify why Apple is limiting the amount of special upgrades for the Pro devices. However, it could be tied to the shipments experiencing a dip, despite providing users extra reason to pay the additional cost to make the iPhone 16 Pro and iPhone 16 Pro Max their daily transportation. With the M14 OLED technology being launched in the iPhone 17 and iPhone 17 Air, purchasers who cannot afford the iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max will still be delighted as they may experience equivalent technology at a lesser price. Jukanlastreave previously emphasized the benefits of the M14, notably its potential to boost the efficiency of the blue emitting layer. This upgrade enhances brightness levels by 30% compared to the older M13 panels, while also increasing their life. Samsung is projected to benefit considerably as the only provider of these M14 OLED panels, with estimates predicting that the South Korean corporation might supply as many as 90 million devices to Apple this year. However, the issue of employing more complex screens resides in their higher manufacturing costs per unit. Therefore, it remains unknown if Apple would absorb these increased production expenditures, and pass the savings on to customers, or whether they will charge a premium for this improvement. Apple recently made a key statement on its move to titanium for the iPhone 15 Pro series, moving away from stainless steel as the frame material. While stainless steel is famed for its strength and durability, it is also somewhat hefty. Thus, the shift to titanium in the mid-frame of the iPhone 15 Pro series was a welcomed adjustment. However, current sources predict a return to an aluminum frame for the iPhone 17 Pro, signaling a full turnaround as Apple moves away from the titanium trend. Jeff Pu, an Apple supply chain expert, wrote to investors that the iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Pro, and iPhone 17 Pro Max would all have metal frames. Pu thinks that Apple's choice to choose aluminum for the iPhone 17 Pro is influenced by environmental reasons, since aluminum often has a reduced carbon footprint compared to titanium. Apple wants to achieve carbon neutrality throughout its products and supply chain by 2030, making this move noteworthy. Pu argues that some iPhone 17 models might be sold as Apple's first carbon-neutral iPhones. Only 3 variations in the iPhone 17 series are rumored to sport a titanium frame. Notably omitted is a mention of the predicted iPhone 17 Air, signaling it may possibly sport a titanium frame. A previous report from Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo had said that the iPhone 17 Air's frame would have a mixture of titanium and aluminum, similar as the iPhone 15 Pro and 16 Pro series, albeit they flaunt a mix, but with a lesser percentage of titanium. Leak Imagine Bu official says that the information concerning the transition to an aluminum frame is correct. Then the recently published design of the iPhone 17 Air and iPhone 17 Pro says that the most current smartphones they have seen include an aluminum unibody. There is meant to be no noticeable difference between the corners of the phone and the back. Keep in mind that all of these are leaks, and we would have to wait until later this year for new information from the firm. I loathe the stainless steel frame of the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which made the phone as weighty as 240 grams, as much as other recent foldables, and was also a fingerprint magnet. I absolutely enjoyed the decreased weight of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the coating also did a considerably better job of masking fingerprints. I also love the lower weight for the non-Pro iPhone, hence I feel happy about this metal shift. While true, there would be one less differentiating feature between the normal iPhone and the iPhone Pro, my wrists would remain pleased for the shift. On the Android side of the fence, several OEMs raced to accept titanium in their flagships when it became obvious that Apple was going to do so too. Samsung utilized titanium in the S24 Ultra and Galaxy S25 Ultra. Even Xiaomi employed titanium in the Xiaomi 14 Ultra Special Edition, although the usual version remained aluminum for its frame. It would be intriguing to observe which of these OEMs reverses back on the change in response to Apple. It will be easy for Xiaomi since they had a limited edition, but Samsung went all in on the titanium hype train. That's what you get by emulating Apple instead of having your own reasons. As for the cost, price may be a thorny problem for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, with one expert estimating that the entire iPhone 17 series would become more pricey after the iPhone 16 purportedly evaded a price hike by the skin of its teeth. And that was before the Trump administration announced tariffs that may boost the iPhone 17 Pro Max's cost to $2,300. While other iPhone models haven't witnessed any substantial price changes for years, the Pro Max model has. Apple scrapped the 128 gigs iPhone 15 Pro Max, instead opting on 256 gigs of standard storage. While the 256 gigs 15 Pro Max was the same price as the 256 gigs iPhone 14 Pro Max, it still meant the price of entry was $100 larger that year, a trend that Apple replicated with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. We're keeping an eye on how tariffs may influence the iPhone 17 pricing, but for now, we wouldn't be stunned if the phone did cost more than the $1,199 iPhone 16 Pro Max price tag, especially with the Wall Street Journal claiming that Apple is pondering a price hike. While we don't know exactly when Apple will release the iPhone 17 Pro Max, it generally adheres to the same release timeline yearly. Typically, Apple launches new iPhones during the first or second week of September, with pre-orders beginning later that week. Release day generally follows a week later. Finally, Jeff Pugh and Ming-Chi Kuo both believe that Apple would add 12 gigs of RAM in the iPhone 17 Pro Max. That's a 50% gain compared to the iPhone 16 series, and would likely be so that Apple can give even more on-device AI in future generations of Apple Intelligence. The iPhone 17 Pro Max apparently won't include the C1 modem that Apple unveiled with the iPhone 16e. Only the iPhone 17 Air is anticipated to include the component. But the Wi-Fi chip in the iPhone 17 Pro Max presumably will be a new kind developed by Apple at first for the iPhone's connection. In addition to new or Apple-made batteries, a report says that Apple might give reverse charging to the Pro models of the iPhone 17. Reverse charging enables your phone charge other devices, primarily headphones like the AirPods 4. The new capability would potentially enable 7.5 charging, although it's uncertain if Apple would attempt to equal the presently existing version on Samsung's Galaxy series. Finally, regulatory records hint that an upgraded Qi2 wireless charging standard may be in place by the time the iPhone 17 Pro Max and other models come out. That may boost wireless charging speeds to as much as 50 watt. So, if you loved this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating tech news and updates. Thanks for viewing, and we'll see you in the next one.